morning everyone, and welcome to Phil Rider's Diaries again. And you've got us on a particularly nice morning as well. It's a bit windy, but there's not a cloud in the sky. And if you think you're hand picking these days to go recording, then you're absolutely right. Trust me, I don't find any joy in going out in the pouring windy rain anymore. When I was riding every day, I was quite proud that I was an all-weather biker, all year round biker, but as I got older, as I've moved up, as I don't rely on the cycle anymore, I've become one of these fair weather riders, I think. Have a quick look outside, see if it's wet, rainy, damp. No, thank you. Don't let the sun put you off. This is actually about 7 degrees, so while it's a beautiful, crisp morning, it's not exactly warm. So you find us again on the 592, heading down towards Glenridding, which is at the southern end of Ullswater. You can see maybe just at the top of the mountains we had a quick snow dump last night. Nothing quite done at ground level, but it gives it a rather nice look. And it's a good day today. It's always nice in the spring, we're a week before the clocks go forward, and it's a very optimistic time of the year. Everyone's looking forward to something special, I think. And like I said in the previous vlog, I think the times to be up here are these times right now, mid-March to mid-May, and then September to October. You come up here in the June, July, the Augusts, and for some reason it's just full of coachloads of Japanese tourists who want to go to the Beatrix Potter Museum. So yeah, the 592, we're going to go down to Glenridding. Glenridding's got a rather nice jetty there for the Ullswater steamers. We've got about 3 or 4 stops on this lake for the steamers. One on the other side of the lake, a place called Howtown. One at Pooley Bridge, which you've already seen. And this one at Glenridding. They're opening another one at a place called Falls. Falls, if you've never heard of it, is like a waterfall. Well, as big as a waterfall gets around here, but you know, it's quite popular. It's a tourist destination, and I don't suppose it would do them any harm. We're trying out a new mic today. We'll see how we get on with this one. You always take a chance when you buy off eBay, but this is a proper drift mic for a proper drift helmet cam, and we hope it's a little bit better. You may have heard me talk last episode, I suppose, of the 592 being one of the major arteries and how everybody uses it. And this is a good example of what can happen. It's not an articulated lorry, but I guess it's a 12-tonner up front. Naturally, the road isn't very big for him, and he's got a pussyfoot through, which holds everybody else up. And another good example of riding around the lakes, I mean, this road right here, because it's in shade and because it's still fairly early morning or mid-morning, this part of the road's still damp. It's been newly resurfaced, only about the last 6 months, but just a little greasy. And you've got to look out for these things. Is it going from shade into full sun? You're going to go from damp into dry weather. And now that our lorry's gone, we can start making a bit more progress. So here we go, going from damp into full sun, within 50 metres, bang, we're dry road again. And you've got to pick up these little differences. I mean, this is what being a motorcyclist is all about. With a car, you're fairly insulated from what's going on around you. You know, you've got crumple zones and crash cells. You've got, I don't know, 8 or 10 airbags now. You've got one for your latte and your cup holder, I'm sure. On a motorbike, you've got to be a bit more subtle. You pick up the camber of the road, you notice if there's a degradation in the surface. You notice if it's wet or it's dry, you pay attention as if it was a frosty night last night. At the moment there's not much debris on the roads from the vegetation because we're in spring, but in autumn we've got a lot of leaves falling, and that turns to a mulch with the water, and that becomes very slippery also. And with all of these situations, you must use appropriate speed. You don't use appropriate speed, you use inappropriate speed, you crash, you die. It's as simple as that. At the very least, it's a painful insurance claim. But appropriate speed, pretty much for all speeds. I mean, 30 miles an hour, I don't think there's many excuses for going above 30 miles an hour. It's there for a reason. This road here, this is a 60. I won't be doing 60 because of the traffic, because of the damp, things I've pointed out, because it's only 6-7 degrees. But people do like these numbers. They like to have a number they can hold on to as if it gives them a sort of security blanket. When you go down the road, it might be 70 miles an hour, it might be dual carriageway, and you might have a crash. It might be foggy, it might be icy, it might be rainy, it might just be too much traffic. And people say, oh, I don't understand, you know, I was doing 68, I was inside the speed limit. Yeah, well, that may be. But you ride to the conditions, not to the limit. So, is that my soapbox there? I'll just put that to one side and let you take in the scenery. The white peak in front of us, I couldn't be entirely sure, but I'm going to take a wild guess that that's Helvellyn. Helvellyn is the third highest peak around here. I've hiked it a couple of times, it's a really nice walk. And the starting point is going to be down in Helvellyn. Round about here on my left hand side, there's an elbow in Ullswater. Where it bends around the corner. It's a typical glacial lake, and these elbows occur when there's a difference in the rock formation 8,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, whatever it may have been, when the last of the ice age melted and formed these lakes. All the weight of the ice would have cut these valleys. It's pretty much how the Lake District got around, I think. I could be making a lot of this up, talking with confidence, but I was a cartographer for 17 years when I was working in London, and whether I like it or not, I do tend to have this fascination now with countries and coastlines, and it never ceases to amaze me whenever I go to a country and I stand on the beach. They actually occur to yourself, you're standing on the edge of a country. That's quite a nice thought. Have you ever been to Norway? Yes, that was one of mine. Wonderful little crinkly coastlines. Won an award, you know. I've never been to Norway. But for fans of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you may recognise that Slightly Bartfast had. So this is quite a nice speed for me today. It's quite nice that I don't feel I have to overtake anyone. It's nice that there's not a lot of wind blast going on if I was doing the national speed limits. So you can perhaps hear me. To my right, that's Eire Falls. So maybe 400 metres into the mountains, you get something like a 20-metre waterfall. For any of my American friends, 20 metres, well, that's like a puddle, I suppose. I've been to Yosemite Falls, I think it's 1,080 feet, something like that. 20 metres, that's about as good as we get around here. Maybe 30, let's build it up a bit. So there's every possibility I could be doing this all day today. It's about 10:55 and I don't start work until 5 o'clock. And like I say, we're about a week before the clocks go forward, so it's not getting dark up here till about 6:30. Which is lovely, because by this sort of time, most of the people who are off the road, I've pretty much got the Lake District to myself. So it's just me, my 3.5 ton van, and all the customers you can imagine. I said in my previous entry I'll try and keep these vlogs to about 15 minutes. That's that might be a tall order. We'll see how we get on with that one. It did occur to me that finding convenient stop-off points around Ullswater, Windermere, Derwent Water, all these lovely places, every 15 minutes might be a little troublesome, so you'll forgive me if I overrun a little. And I know, for instance, on this particular stretch, not far away, they're going to have some traffic lights. Road surfacing around here, it's never a bad thing. Right now we're on a particularly nice piece as we start to go into this uphill section, as you see. The surface deteriorates. There's a good driver. See, there's a driver who's waiting for the pedal cyclists to make their way up the hill. He's not forcing his way past, he's not forcing the oncoming cars in the opposite lane to do something they don't want to. That's convenient, we'll take that. Where was your lifesaver, Elv? You may hear me refer to myself as Elv once in a while. Fell Rider, this is just a handle that I'm going to be using for the YouTube videos. Elv is an old nickname that myself, my brothers, my father, my grandfather all had. And it's unlikely to change just because I'm talking to yourselves on here. But still a good question, where was my lifesaver? Riding in London, your wing mirrors become virtually redundant, but your lifesaver is everything. All you want to know is the space that you're going to be moving into is clear. So this is Glenridding. I got here, well, maybe a little quicker than I thought. Maybe I've just been rabbiting on and haven't noticed the time going. So we're going to pull up at the Ullswater Steamers jetty and we'll end the vlog there, I think. And perhaps while I'm there I might just do another one about the kit we're using, the motorcycle we're riding, what we're wearing, the helmet, the cam. Where are you going? Do you know? You're not sure, are you? There we are. Here we go, Ullswater Steamers. And if I was brutally honest, I would say this is one of my favourite places in all the lakes. I'm a big fan of Ullswater anyway. But this particular place really kind of gets me. So we'll park up here give you a quick look, and then I think that'll be that. £11 now, the fastest digital clock around. Dum. Right, so this is Water steamers. They've got 2 boats here, as you can see. I think they only use the furthest one, the longest one nowadays. But across the way, we've got Place Fell, which is another fabulous lookout point. You don't really have to go so high, you don't need to go to the top. Maybe only 30, 50 metres up. And from the other side of the lake, looking back to Glenridding, that's a spectacular view. It really is. There's a small plaque here for Donald Campbell for achieving his first water speed record. Of course, Campbell's famous for killing himself on Coniston. Killing himself died. That's going to be a good one. If we ever get to Coniston, I'll talk about that in further detail. But let's just say, as an experienced world record holder, he knew better to do his second run so early after his first one when the waters were still choppy. But like I say, we'll talk about that another time. And here we go. Water's not warm enough for bathing in any time of the year, as far as I'm concerned. I think the warmest it gets is about 19 degrees. Right now, it's barely above freezing. And we just see the other steamer coming in. So there we go. That's Pooley Bridge down to Glenridding. And it seems like a natural progression to take you over to Kirkstone Pass next. So we'll save that for another time. Have a good day, everyone. Speak to you soon.